In the world of nutrition, one of the most enduring paradoxes has been the apparent contradiction between the widespread consumption of white rice in Japan and the country's historically high health outcomes. In a landscape where white rice is often classified as a bad carb, the Japanese have long relied on it as a dietary staple, leading to questions about the potential role of genetics, culture, and lifestyle in mitigating the negative impacts often associated with this refined grain. In the West, where obesity, diabetes, and heart disease have risen to epidemic levels, much of the focus has been on reducing the intake of refined carbohydrates, including white rice. Western dietary guidelines tend to emphasize whole grains over refined grains, citing the latter's lower fiber and nutrient content. This advice aligns with modern nutritional science that warns against foods with a high glycemic index, those that spike blood sugar levels rapidly, leading to insulin resistance and long-term metabolic complications. And yet, Japan, where white rice is consumed in abundance, has remained a puzzle to nutritionists. Japan's life expectancy remains among the highest in the world, and the incidence of metabolic diseases, while on the rise, has historically been lower than in countries that consume fewer refined grains. Could there be something about the diet beyond just the rice? Or is it possible that long-term consumption has led to unique genetic adaptations that allow the Japanese to metabolize carbohydrates more efficiently? To untangle this paradox, it's essential to look beyond the single ingredient of white rice and explore how it fits into the broader framework of Japanese cuisine, lifestyle, and genetics. Unlike many Western diets where refined carbs like bread, pastries, and sugary drinks are consumed in large quantities without accompanying nutrients, the Japanese diet places white rice in a more balanced context. Meals are often built around rice, but they also include a wide variety of vegetables, fish, seaweed, and fermented foods. This balance is crucial. In traditional Japanese meals, rice serves as a vehicle for other nutrient-dense foods rather than being the main attraction. A typical Japanese meal might include a small bowl of rice accompanied by grilled fish, pickled vegetables, and a bowl of miso soup. While rice provides the carbohydrate content needed for energy, the fish adds protein and healthy fats, the vegetables contribute fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and the miso soup offers a probiotic boost thanks to its fermented base. This kind of meal ensures that no single food group is overrepresented. This dietary structure contrasts sharply with typical Western eating patterns, where refined carbs might be consumed in large portions with little to balance them out. Think of a slice of pizza or a plate of pasta. These meals often come with minimal amounts of vegetables or lean protein. The result is a diet heavy in refined carbs with little fiber or other nutrients to slow down the body's absorption of sugars. In contrast, the fiber from vegetables in Japanese meals, along with the healthy fats from fish, likely helps slow the absorption of the carbohydrates from the rice, mitigating its glycemic impact. Another critical factor in understanding the health impact of white rice in Japan is portion control. Although rice is eaten daily, the portion sizes are relatively small. Instead of large bowls of rice as a primary dish, the rice is often a side, meant to complement the other components of the meal. This moderation plays a role in how carbohydrates are metabolized. Eating rice in smaller quantities, combined with other nutrient-rich foods, avoids the massive blood sugar spikes associated with larger, carb-heavy portions. Portion control is not just about quantity. It's also about maintaining a balance of macronutrients. In many cultures that rely heavily on rice, the grain is part of a holistic approach to nutrition that includes an array of micronutrients found in vegetables, legumes, and fish. This symbiosis between different food groups could explain why a diet that might appear unhealthy in isolation, a high intake of refined carbohydrates, works so well when placed within a broader, balanced context. The possibility of genetic adaptation is another aspect that has intrigued scientists. Populations that have historically consumed high levels of carbohydrates may have evolved mechanisms to better manage carbohydrate metabolism. This idea isn't new. It has long been hypothesized that genetic adaptations to diet can occur over generations. For example, populations in Northern Europe with a long history of dairy farming have higher rates of lactase persistence, the enzyme that allows adults to digest lactose in milk. Similarly, The Inuit populations in the Arctic are believed to have genetic adaptations that allow them to thrive on diets rich in animal fats and proteins, with very few carbohydrates. For rice-consuming cultures like Japan, there could be analogous adaptations. Over millennia, these populations might have developed more efficient ways of processing carbohydrates without experiencing the same metabolic consequences as those who are less accustomed to such diets. This genetic component would be in addition to the cultural habits of moderation and balance that also contribute to their health. Another key player in the carbohydrate metabolism puzzle is the gut microbiome. Research has increasingly shown that the bacteria residing in our digestive systems play a significant role in how we process food, and these bacterial communities are influenced by diet. Traditional Japanese cuisine, rich in fermented foods like miso, natto, and pickles, is particularly beneficial for gut health. These foods introduce probiotics, which can improve digestion, aid in nutrient absorption, and even regulate the body's response to insulin. The regular consumption of these fermented foods, combined with a diet rich in fiber from vegetables and seaweed, helps cultivate a gut microbiome that might be better equipped to handle high levels of carbohydrates. This balance between carbs and fermented, fiber-rich foods can contribute to better metabolic health by ensuring that sugars from the rice are absorbed more slowly and steadily. It is also important to consider the role of physical activity in mitigating the effects of a carbohydrate-heavy diet. In Japan, particularly in past generations, physical activity was woven into daily life. Walking or biking to work, spending long hours on one's feet, and engaging in regular physical labor are common in traditional lifestyles. This consistent physical activity would naturally increase the body's demand for glucose, making a carbohydrate-rich diet more appropriate. This stands in stark contrast to modern sedentary lifestyles in many Western countries, where the consumption of refined carbohydrates far exceeds the energy needs of the population. Without adequate physical activity to burn off the glucose, excess carbohydrates are stored as fat, contributing to obesity and metabolic disorders. In Japan, where physical activity has historically been high, a diet centered on rice made sense as it provided the quick energy needed to fuel long hours of labor. The way rice is processed and prepared can also influence its health effects. While white rice is often criticized for being stripped of its bran and germ, losing much of its fiber and nutrients in the process, not all white rice is created equal. In many parts of Asia, parboiled rice is used. This variety is steamed before being hulled, a process that forces some of the nutrients from the bran into the grain itself, thereby preserving more vitamins and minerals than traditional white rice. Parboiled rice also has a lower glycemic index than regular white rice, meaning it causes a slower, more controlled rise in blood sugar. In Japan, while parboiled rice is less common, the regular practice of rinsing rice before cooking can also influence nutrient content. Some studies suggest that rinsing rice removes a portion of the starch, thereby lowering the glycemic load. Additionally, some households save the water used to rinse the rice, which contains the nutrient-rich powder that forms during the rice enrichment process, and use it for other purposes, including as a face wash. Over the years, rice in Japan has become more than just a staple food. It is a cultural symbol, deeply embedded in rituals and daily life. This reverence for rice might contribute to the careful way it is prepared and consumed. It's not merely fuel, but a respected part of the meal, and this respect may translate into healthier eating habits overall. In many ways, the story of rice in Japan is a testament to the importance of context in understanding nutrition. A food that might seem unhealthy in one context can become the backbone of a healthy diet in another, provided it is balanced with the right practices, other foods, and lifestyle habits. As the global discussion around carbohydrates continues to evolve, the Japanese diet offers a valuable lesson. Health outcomes are rarely determined by one food alone. Instead, it's the entire pattern of eating, the cultural practices around food, and the daily rhythms of life that determine whether a carbohydrate like white rice is part of a problem or part of a solution. Thanks for joining me in today's deep dive into the fascinating world of diet, culture, and health. As we've seen, the Japanese relationship with white rice is about much more than carbs. It's a testament to balance, tradition, and adaptation. Whether you're a fan of rice or looking for ways to optimize your diet, Remember that it's about the bigger picture, how you combine foods, how you live, and even how you move. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more insights, and share your thoughts in the comments below.